Where is your freedom of speech? Do you have it? Did you ever? Do you still honestly think that you can say whatever you want? Are you so sure? Or will there be repercussions for having a differing opinion? And an opinion that's different from who? The true masses of average citizens, or a handful of lawmakers, pandering to some overly sensitive group that wants to force you to pay in blood if you don't agree with their narrative? And these groups are being used, and they're not even smart enough to see it. Or worse yet, they know that they're being used, and they're allowing it because they think they can ultimately control it. But the truth is that they can't, and eventually it will backfire on them when their usefulness is used up. And why do these lawmakers pander to them? Because it suits them to do so, because they've sold out. And what these groups want, and what you, the average citizen, needs and wants, ultimately really doesn't matter to them. But as for the idea of freedom of speech, the truth is, we've never 100% had freedom of speech to begin with. And little by little, over the years, our rights to say what we think and practice what we believe, right or wrong, has been constricted by the law. Laws that act like a giant python, slowly squeezing the will out of us until we either join them or they eventually kill us off. Do you think you have a voice on social media? Think again. People with contradictory opinions or information are constantly silenced by on-the-spot corrections and so-called fact-checking and restrictions and penalties and suspensions of posts by the forces of Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and all the others. You can say what you want, but you'll be made to pay for it, one way or the other. Remember, they don't have to worry about pressing a lie so hard if no one is allowed to hear the truth anyways. And there are too many yes men out there, people who love the idea of someone getting stifled for not following the crowd. Cowards who blow in the wind with every narrative that's floated by. And I wonder what their attitude will be when it's their turn. Because it will happen. I've said it before, people always scream and shout for whatever it takes, until whatever it takes eventually happens to them. They never think that it could reach them. And when it finally does, usually there's no one left to stand with them when they want to protest. And as for the news, what news? Do they really speak for you? Who put them on that pedestal? Who made them the voice of the people? Where are the journalists? There are none. No journalists left. Just actors reading a script and putting on a show. No more research, no more investigations, no more ethics, just smoke, mirrors, and irresponsible reporting. It's news performance art at its worst. Bad actors pretending to have credibility because a piece of paper and an obscenely big check says that they do. So they stare into the camera, saying whatever they've been told to say, whether they believe what they're saying or not. No more and no less. The media has been slowly selling this country out for years. Pound by pound we've been sold to the highest bidder, while they sold their souls and made us pay for it. And this has been going on for decades. The days of the type of news professionals that exposed the Pentagon Papers or the Watergate investigations are long gone and forgotten, and rarely ever spoken of anymore. Society is slowly being molded into something very ugly, and I believe we're getting close to the tipping point because we aren't allowed to challenge ideas anymore. And anything that does come up has so much spin on it that you can't tell one end from the other. Remember, if they lie to you often enough, it will start to sound like the truth, and younger generations coming up won't know the difference since they've never heard the truth. All they'll ever hear is the programmed narrative. And this isn't just an America problem, it is a global problem, and it's getting bigger all the time. Ultimately, the powers that be won't be happy until you either join their freak show or you perish. whether it's through foolishness, fear, or force, one way or the other. There are those who believe out of foolishness, those who pretend to believe out of fear, and those who are forced to believe because they feel they have no choice. Oh, but forgive me, it seems that I've neglected one more F. Those who will choose to fight. So which of the four F's are you?
Google gobble, Google gobble. One of us, one of us. Google gobble.
They are going to make you one of them, my big cock.